don't remember what's wrong and what's right. The world is dead, but we stayed. 'Cause we are born as living fights. We live to die. We live to die.
Whoa.
And we surround
Whoa, 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 whoa.
We live to die. We are shadows in the neon light. We are shadows in the neon.
Very, very tired this morning.
With the Amex Platinum Card, you have access to over $1,500 in annual value, with benefits across travel, entertainment,
Alright, let's try to punch through this. Alright, let's move those out of the way, I guess. We'll put that here. Put that here. Green can go there. Push that down there. Orange get moved up. This is going to be right in here somewhere, as we do know. Drop that there. Interesting, eh? Wow. It's like starting out right there. Just gonna put it there. It's pretty nice. Cool. All right, what are we missing? Sorry about that. I'm of this extreme tiredness right now, I must say. All right, what is it that it tells us, huh? What have you having is it? On the day,
Eczema
on the week,
isn't always obvious.
actually looks pretty
Eczema
strong.
Isn't always
Close
red.
out the week,
But now,
fine.
eczema isn't always going to stop you. With Eblis.
It is actually looking like
Eblis is a once-monthly treatment to help those with moderate to severe eczema find real itch relief and real results.
somewhat positive.
Like skin that's still more clear at one
She'll find out.
I guess by comparison, the dollar yen one was at support, whereas this is from broken support, underneath broken support. So there's a slight difference there in that the dollar yen one probably should have seen some follow through, whereas this one maybe not, because we've broken through major levels here. So yeah, I mean, and again, only natural.
Nothing really. There was total vehicle sales just a second ago,
bit of short covering,
and factory orders.
And the rebound is struggling at the broken support levels, which is again only natural in terms of the technical analysis textbooks, where support.
All right, let's see what happens right here.
Becomes resistance. So it's no surprise to see these levels above
Order filled.
because there are lots of people that are trapped above these lines, I believe. There are people that bought the market on the pullback thinking the market was cheap, and now it's got even cheaper, and now they're thinking maybe perhaps not such a good idea, and that's why I think this area is resisting on the bounce. A little bit like crude oil, which we'll have a look at a bit later on before the recent break, where it was stuck in a big range. The support broke, we saw a retest, and then we've seen the market kind of ease off again, kind of thing. So yeah, dollar Swiss technical rebound, which I think has probably stalled and maybe done its worst. And I think that the pressure should start to be on the downside again going into next week. So that's dollar Swiss. Maybe just take a look at the daily as well while we're at it. This little pattern's interesting. This happens quite a bit with some of these charts where you get a big thrust in the direction of the trend, a shallow correction sideways where there's no real buying pressure. You get a push through, which turns out to be a bit of a false break, and then you get the real correction like this. And then this is the ultimate trap, because this is where the real kind of selling comes in. And it looks like we're doing that kind of thing now, where we trap the sellers, and now I think we're trapping the buyers. Once we start to break through, what is it, 81.95? We're at 82.75.
Let's go.
Once we break through 81.95, which is this low here, I guess you could probably call that a double top. Once we break through this kind of, or an M formation, or whatever you want to call it. And then that for me would be the trigger.
Curious on trading this. Maybe up to
so
test.
You can see I'm bearish on the dollar against most things.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think? Any big thoughts on the Swissy or the dollar in general?
I didn't do my spreadsheet today. I couldn't care to have done it today, just because the market, didn't really show much direction before coming online. So I was like, yeah, why even bother? I just wait until the news comes out, and I think that just the market had to choose a direction, and I was gonna wait, until the news for it to choose a direction, and it shows in a direction.
I think this is gonna fail.
Order filled.
Taken a basket trade against every single dollar pair almost, and made some profits, but
It might not.
personally, I like the Aussie dollar, and the dollar yen is definitely, I think, the best mover for today. We have consistent yen strength. It's more dominant than the Aussie dollar strength, so I'd certainly I like that.
Oh.
There's always another chance to get in. So with this non-farm payroll news, my game plan into next week will be to reanalyze the market, see how the market opens on Sunday. For me, it's Sunday, and do my analysis, get my price alert set in place, and see where things are heading. Dollar CAD, I think, is certainly broken out too, but there's not much consistency with the Canadian dollar, so the movements on it are a bit more choppy. I guess I'll show an update on how my trade is going so far.
Yeah, go for it. Go for it. Yeah.
Okay, it should be up now. Can you see my screen?
Yep, all good. Yep.
Okay, nice. Yeah, so we're in a bit of profit with the Aussie dollar trade. I kind of don't like how it's moving. It's moving pretty slow. It is a low volatile
Order filled.
pair, but with the dollar weakness in place, I was hoping that it's going to push a lot higher. So got about a little bit more time. I might move my stop to break even in a little bit, but I'll just continue monitoring how these 5-minute charts are moving. But what I was saying, we're pretty much testing that low that I've been looking at for what seems like for ages on this daily time frame. I've been wanting it to break, where it's pretty much at right now. And the only reason I did not enter into this trade specifically is because we do have the intraday momentum, but the Canadian dollar itself is not really showing a lot of support for strength. It's kind of like the dollar's weak and the Canadian dollar's kind of weak, so it's more like a week against week trade. Which
if you've recently been injured in a car accident that wasn't your fault, I've got one question for you. Do you know how to get the maximum compensation that you deserve in the shortest time
what are the
possible
leaders kind
without
of thing?
jumping through countless hoops, chasing down firm
what's
after
leading
firm,
the market?
or paying crazy attorney fees?
I'm
about to show
it's
you
dollar
how
yen
I got
for
this
sure. You
$50,000
can see
check that I'm
the
about
dollar
to
yen on
deposit
this
into my bank
intraday chart.
account
It
for an
looks the
accident I
best
was
out of all
involved in
these guys.
just 5 months ago. The same accident that the insurance company offered me $5,000.
This is dumb trade.
And how I did it without settling for less, jumping through hoops, or contacting firm after firm pleading my case. And I'm going to show you in real time how you can do it too, in 30 seconds or less. Ready?
I just wanted to move in one direction.
So there's this app called the
starts
Case Connect
reversing like
Compensation
this, I start to
Calculator.
get a bit
It's a little
uneasy,
known
and I
tool
start
that's
to think,
apparently
it might be
100%
better to
free.
exit
It's pretty
because
crazy.
I
It
hate
lets you know
being
if
in
your
a
case
position
qualifies for
where
a
I'm
big
in
check
profit
and
and then
what that
I
check can
get
look
out.
like.
Stop
Here,
filled.
let me show you the site.
It knocks
All
me
I did
out,
was
but,
come to this page,
today's one of
then I
those days,
answered
it's one of
4
those
questions
days,
to see
we
if my
always have
accident
another chance
qualifies.
to get
Don't
in
worry,
next
these
week,
questions
but,
don't ask you for super
you
personal
gotta
or
learn to
sensitive
always protect your
information.
capital. So
It's just
Coming
about
from
the
behind.
It asks because the calculator
I'm gonna
compares
look
your
at
accident with
how these
millions of
pairs are
other
moving.
cases.
Let's take a quick
That's
look
how
at
it
the
knows
Aussie
if you
dollar pairs.
qualify and what the check could look like. So,
Yeah,
I filled out
see,
these
the
4
Aussie dollar is
questions,
starting
and within
to
minutes, I
reverse
knew
on
the
the
cash
5-minute
value I was
charts
entitled
on
to
all these
for my
guys, so
accident.
I
It even
think,
connected
it's
me with a
best
local
for me
compensation
to
specialist
close out this
who helped me
position.
get this check
I'll
60%
take a look at
faster
this,
than traditional
once
attorneys
it,
would have. The best part,
once
this
it
tool is 100% free for anybody ready to use.
rebounds
You
and
can use it right
potentially
now by
break
clicking the link.
Okay.
again,
The
but
So
process
the
is
news
extremely
that
fast.
comes
It took me
out,
less than 30 seconds to
factory
develop the
orders
questions. Not 30 hours,
and
not 30
transport.
days, not 30 days, but 30
you know, there's not
seconds.
much to do.
And I got
That's
a
how trading is, man.
$50,000 estimate
You know,
for the same
take a break.
accident
It's
that my
time to
insurance company
walk away
only
from the
offered me
computer. You know,
$5,000
things are
for.
kind of.
I had no idea anything
always
like this
something else,
existed.
yeah.
Turns out
Yeah,
the
you
Yeah.
come
free
back
case
and
connect
there's always
compensation
something else to do
calculator
when you come
has
back.
helped settle over 12,000 cases and get
Exactly.
people
But,
compensated
you know,
last year
one
alone.
thing I really
That's
liked what I
countless
did
people
here
who were
is
rewarded with compensation for
even
claims
though we're
other
in
companies
positive
offered
pips,
pennies for, or
we were in
accidents
positive
people
pips,
didn't even
you know,
know that
you
they
have to
qualified
understand
for
when your game plan
compensation.
is
I'm
following
just so
through, at what
blessed that I
point
found
Let's see if this
this
plays
page, and I
out.
want to share it with
to
you
the
too.
next.
As someone who's been
So-
None of the
injured in
news is
an
about to
accident,
happen,
I
so
felt
I
like
don't
my
know
life had
what's
been on
gonna
track,
happen.
but
The game
believe it
plan
or not.
was
And
for
if
it to,
there's one way to
you know,
get back
go
on track after
skyrocket,
an
hit
accident or
my
injury,
little price
it's
limit
seeing
so
a
I can move
big
my
check
stop to
like
break
this
even.
get
It did not
deposited in
happen.
your bank account. So
So
whatever you
I
need to
think,
get done gets
you know,
done. Medical
because
bills
it's
gone,
just moving
car
a little
fixed or even replaced
slower,
with a brand new one, and even paying back
I
loans
don't know
from
if I'm
friends
gonna
and family. If
re-enter
you've been
into this
injured, you
pair.
gotta give it a try. Just click in the
Definitely
top
check
right
out how
corner
things are
if you're on
going.
mobile or the
filled.
bottom
We
if you're
could
on
try to
desktop.
short
You'll
this.
end up on the same
$1
page.
yen, I
Answer
think,
4 quick questions, see if you qualify,
the
and
only
get the
thing was,
compensation you
you know,
deserve
when non-farm
faster,
payroll
better,
comes
and
out,
easier than you knew was possible.
when
If you
the
feel like
news
life
comes
hasn't
out,
been
you
the same
have,
since your accident and you want to get back
you
on
know,
track so you
a
can
pretty
support your
big spike
family,
for like
pay
about
your
the first
bills,
5
or
to
even get your
15
car
minutes
fixed, click the link. Take
of the
30
news
seconds to
being
use the
announced.
case
But you're
connect
supposed to
compensation
wait for the
calculator. Don't just take my word for
failure.
it. Check out for yourself. And you can see other stories just like mine.
So like
So
on
make
this
sure you click
$1
that
pair,
link and
the
take
news comes
30
out, you
seconds
can
out
see
of your
the news
time
spikes
and see if you
here, and
qualify
then,
for checks like these.
you know, it starts to consolidate for a little bit, and then it starts to choose its direction. That's why I bought this pair, and because every single other dollar pair was moving in weakness. You know, the U.S. dollar was driving the weakness, so I was more comfortable entering in on that. But um, this is kind of what I do. The smaller time frames, 5, 15, 30 minute,
You can be
use the
whoever you
intraday
want to be here.
momentum to enter in on the trends on the
Call
larger
me.
time frames.
I'm Amanda
Now,
Knox's
this
cousin.
trend is really nice. It's really strong, but
How the freshman
you know,
ladies treat me.
the intraday momentum kind of just not got the best
Stop,
of me today.
Phil.
So um,
Either
it happens. You know, there's not much you can do at this point. Just sitting here and looking at the screen is certainly not going to help you. So,
Do you have a girlfriend?
Nah.
Really?
I'll
You seem like
move on
such a
from this
girlfriend
pair,
guy.
but yeah, you want to add anything
What's
to that?
happening?
Yeah. No, my trades are a little bit
Let's go to the
a longer term
I'll be
time
right back.
frame, so
Yeah,
I'm kind of
yeah.
I'm sitting through. Yeah, I'm
It feels
sitting
like
through
you're
these
kind
little
of out of sync with your life.
counter
colleges and you had to choose mine.
You know Dad paid
I
me.
could be wrong, but
We have to
yeah.
address the elephant in the room.
So
Yeah,
I'm
hopefully not. I mean, I hope
uh,
these things.
Have you ever
continuously
kissed a
push up,
guy
you know?
before?
I just get
Open your
so
mouth and
nervous
spit.
when things, you know, they go into
Okay, guys,
profit and I'm
take
not
care.
able to get my
Yeah.
stop
I'm rooting
loss
for
to
you.
break even.
Get
And then, you know, it's better to be out of
I'm
the
starting to
market,
think I am
wishing
better
you
at
were
being in the
in,
closet.
Guess no matter how
than
much
in
we
the
try to
market,
pretend to be
wishing
something
you
that
were
we are
in.
not, does not
That's a
mean we are
saying
that.
that I've kind of just
Carrying
held
around.
Kind of rough.
Thanks. I miss you, Grace.
mentors
Don't you
told
miss
me.
you? Perfection
Man,
is
I can't tell
boring.
you how
I'm
many
done
times
playing
it's
nice.
saved
I'm
me.
going to put H on his horse.
Yeah.
So,
What? You
yeah,
live in a
you know,
college
No, so
town.
it
We'll play
yeah,
it.
it's a good one.
yeah, we pretty much just got out of break.
So yeah,
but
You can at least say hi.
yeah,
Hi.
that was pretty much it.
Hey,
for me.
Green.
What the f*** am I
yeah, let's
f***ing
just take a
doing
look and see
here?
You're
I'm up to.
such a legend.
My break buying.
This is the highlight of my
$100.
college experience.
That is a tragic
Still on
sentence.
the side a little bit.
Oh, you know that? Yeah, my friends and I used to bird call.
Should be coming through now. Okay. Yeah. So
Congratulations, Benny. I'm
30-minute.
so
So
supportive.
yeah, so this was non-farm payroll started
Thank
at
you so much,
113.33
Megan Fox.
or so. The news came out; it was bullish for the dollar, bearish for euro dollar, and it shot down to
Order
just
filled.
above the 13 where
Oh, you're supposed to wait for the break.
buyers came in.
I kind of did.
Here we are making new highs. So I
Let us
I added
see.
my long basically 112.80. Added to it 113.55, and I've got a combined stop now just below the post news pullback low. So if we get back down here, that would not be very good for what I'm thinking of on this particular market. So yeah, so we've broken through. We're seeing a bit of a pullback as you say. High so far is what, just below 113.80. So at 113.67 or so, we're just easing
Stop
back.
filled.
We're still above the breakout point
Rough.
on 13.50 FOP, and let's see what we can do into the close. What I'll probably end up doing is taking half of it off if it's in profit at the end of the towards the end of the session.
Order
Is it
filled.
now going?
Position. And the average on the two will be a decent kind of price anyway, so that won't be too bad. If as long as we're kind of holding up here, and then maybe we see a bit more strength into the close.
Or do we just get bamboozled again? We just got bamboozled again. Ding.
To something that you'd like to be long of. Although yesterday when I bought it, not so much. Yeah, so hopefully we could get a decent-ish close on this thing. And this was, the rationale basically was.
You know
Order filled.
My kind of zone of interest.
I think let's try the overall swing.
This area here on the daily chart. Obviously, the weekly chart you've got the broken resistance level which comes in around here. But on the daily chart, it was really a case of A down, B up, and then kind of a C down. So you've got an A, B, and a C, a three-legged correction against the trend, which bases out in this kind of support zone. So anybody that sells into the support zone, the idea was that this would be not a good place for them to be short, and perhaps a good place to be taking long. So far so good. We'll see how anything's possible on non-farm payroll day. We could get a complete reversal for all we know. But so far so good. It's we've had some supposedly bearish news for this market, and the market is looking very, very strong. So
with the MX Gold Card, turn errands into an
similar,
opportunity.
a similar
Earn 4
setup.
times membership rewards points at U.S. supermarkets.
Back in February, we had
Then grab a little
similar
pick-me-up
setup
from
with
Duncan, courtesy of Amex.
The CPI.
The Amex Gold Card rewards you on life's necessities like groceries. And perhaps more importantly,
it was February 11, I think it was.
Make your everyday more rewarding.
So we had a very
with the
similar
Amex
kind of
Gold
setup
Card
where we had
and
a supposedly bullish for the dollar, bearish for euro dollar inflation number, CPI. But by the end of the session, the market was rallying.
We used a Spectrum Savings calculator before. I learned that since we're existing Spectrum Internet customers, we get a mobile line for a year.
Having a line for a year would be amazing.
That with
switch and save with one mobile line included with your internet service.
And that can give you some pretty good confluences, if you will. So hopefully that.
I don't know if I want to wait the 5 minutes, man.
Early days yet, but it would be nice to come in on Monday and find that we're breaking through this lower high, 114.25. That would be a trigger for a lot of people, I think. If you sold this breakout, maybe you're stopping yourselves out above yesterday's high, but maybe above the week's high. And I think that will be a big trigger for the move to new highs. But early days yet. We can't never say never. So where are we now? It looks like we're trying to push up to new highs again. Let's just have a look at the 5 minute. Yeah, it's literally just hovering around the highs. So I think we'll just ignore it for the time being. Just let it do what it wants to do. What else do we have? So we looked at the Aussie. So let's just have another look at the Aussie again. So the Aussie, we have that big support level around which it formed this kind of base, slopey. Weird.
Wow.
So
crazy.
Level down here, 61.70 odd, stuck in a range, and then it broke to the downside. Saw an attempt at recovering. It was a weak recovery, and then we had that big flush out, broke through, took all the stops out, and then the V-shaped reversal, bullish engulfing next week. And that, for me, marks the bottom of the market, the end of the downtrend, and perhaps the start of a new multi-month uptrend.
Order filled.
So I think the US dollar is going much, much lower over the longer term. And it's interesting how the Aussie and the Kiwi, and to some extent, I suppose, the CAD, were not really doing the same thing as euro dollar and sterling dollar, cable, dollar yen. They weren't kind of collapsing. In fact, they were just going sideways to slightly higher. And it took that kind of Trump tariff event to really flush out the remaining sellers in this market. And now I think we're going to be doing a weekly close above this double bottom breakout point here. And then, as you say, I think we're going to be going much higher on the Aussie dollar. Technically, it looks to be very, very positive for me. That's that one. Onto the on the daily, obviously we've got that reversal and settlement above resistance or slightly into it around here, and now it looks like we're trying to accelerate out of it. Obviously, let's see
Order
how we go, come back into the range, but it wouldn't surprise me if this turned out to be just a little kind of bullish pennant or whatever you want to call it, and then we're starting to do some more acceleration. So we'll see. But it looks to be quite positive with the backdrop of the basing at the big support level weekly, the V-shape.
We were so good.
Sellers out, and then settlement and starting to push to new multi-month highs now. So that looks to be quite positive. Kiwi dollar tends to do the same kind of thing, although there's been a little bit of divergence on the weekly on Kiwi dollar.
Order filled.
Same kind of thing in that there was a big level in play on the long-term chart. So big level and then range, and then
had to want to add to it, huh?
Weak bounce.
Had to.
That level, but again the V-shaped reversal higher, bullish engulfing weekly candle, very positive. So big base at support, and then follow through. Yeah, follow through. So I think what we're seeing on the Aussie, we've already done. I think the Kiwi has done what I think the Aussie is probably doing now. In that it formed its double bottom and it's moved away, whereas the Aussie's a bit behind in the cycle, if you will. I don't know. Do you look at Aussie against the Kiwi? Is there any trends on Aussie versus Kiwi dollar? Oh, sorry, I can't hear you. Sorry.
Oh, sorry, I had my mic on mute.
You're good. Yeah.
I was just gonna say, I don't think I've ever traded the Aussie New Zealand dollar personally.
Come on, no.
I look at it doing the daily market analysis, and typically what I find is they do the exact same thing. It's either one currency takes the lead, and then the other one follows it. So like if the New Zealand dollar is strong, for a good amount of time, and the Aussie
So
dollar
wanted that back.
doing nothing.
Wanted it back.
The New Zealand dollar kind of calms down, the Aussie dollar starts to follow it. It's kind of like a domino effect,
Yeah.
They follow each other almost. So, but particularly trading the Aussie New Zealand, no, I've never really traded that. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I just wondered if there's any clues as to which one is kind of leading. It looks like the Kiwi is well, in terms of the dollar decline, the Kiwi seems to be ahead of the cycle, but I don't know whether it's whether the Aussie's about to take leadership. I don't know.
Yeah, no, for sure. On the weekly time frames, in terms of the larger trends, New Zealand is certainly leading the Aussie dollar, but
jumped in too soon.
Take the lead here. I think it's more so that the U.S. dollar just driving these currencies up. It's not necessarily the Aussie or the New Zealand. I mean, there is some Aussie dollar strength happening right now, but it's more so the U.S. dollar, weakness that's just pushing it up. So. I'd have to reanalyze the market, when we come back.
Order filled.
Which foundation is good for a steamy situation?
When market opens over
All right,
weekend,
it's a hot pot date. Hot pot date, got it. House labs. It's weightless, but it holds up. Perfect.
Always
Push, breakthrough to the upside. Come on, you could do it. You could do it. You can do it. This is the last trade on this account. If so,
it's still gonna move up because the U.S. dollar is
I have an idea.
also will be on this count.
That's pretty much what I'm going to be looking for. Is next week is how they.
It does it.
As we are making bad trades.
Yeah, No, I totally agree. If the dollar is the driver, then there's not going to be a major variation between the two. They're going to be roughly doing the same kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, just the daily. So there's the kind of like the Aussie where we saw the Trump tariff news. It's funny because going into it over the previous several.
I feel like this wants to fail,
it was starting to look quite positive.
and that I should get out.
On the daily time frame, making higher highs and higher lows, and then the news hit, and the dollar sold off against.
See what happens.
But the Aussie and the Kiwi went down as well, which I wasn't expecting that.
It's really giving me the reverse vibes.
Strange occurrence, but they both went down as euro dollar and cable went the other way.
Right. Yeah.
So it's interesting.
It's so weird.
Eventually, the dollar trend kind of rears.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, it's yeah. Please carry on.
Yeah, I mean, I was just gonna say, we had such extreme moves over the whole month of April that, I mean, eventually when the moves can only go on for so long. A marathon runner can only run for so long before he needs to stop and take a break. And the markets are the exact same. Exactly, yeah. They're gonna pull back eventually. At one point, there's gonna be some weird stuff that goes on, especially when the market. I mean, last week when I was on, or earlier this week when I was on. Doing the market analysis, every single currency pair was going sideways on the 4-hour, the daily. There was 0 trends available. And I was saying, wait until the news comes out. The market usually goes sideways before major news, and we just had some major movement. So it's normal to see this consolidation and wait for it to shake itself out after the news, and then we'll get clear direction. I think now, obviously we have a lot of clear direction, and just if you miss the moves today, that's perfectly okay. You can always get back into these trends. That's the beauty about trading the trends on the larger time frames is there's always another opportunity to get back in the same trend. As long as you're not in an overextended trend or you're just way too late into it. If you see the trend indicator just moving completely up.
All right, break to the up. Break to the up. This is the Hail Mary of them all.
You're late. Taking a buy position at that point, you're probably gonna pay the price. You're probably gonna be sorry that you did, but yeah,
Come on, you could do it.
Somewhere along the line.
Absolutely, yeah.
You can do it. I know it. I've seen it. I believe in it.
The market gets the best of you that day, and the currency pair still moved up in profit. Like the Aussie dollar trade I just got into, let's say that guy continues to move higher. The market just got the best of you that day. It's okay. Move on. Keep your capital safe, and move to the next opportunity. So there's definitely better traders than me out there who capitalize on this move and looking at me and saying, man, you just sandbagged it. So, take that how you will, but everybody has a good day and everybody has a bad day. So, earlier this month, there was thousands of pips that were made. So I'm not really here to complain about it,
Oh, part of me really wanted to just see. That's when I need to know. Do I take profit? Do I stay in?
Specifically,
go for it. Go.
Yeah, so hopefully you can see my screen here.
Just coming through there. Here we go. That's it. Got it.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, so we're starting to, we made this big push up. So I think it was about 2 weeks ago, I got into a Bitcoin buy position, actually right here. It was actually done live on stream. It was a couple minutes before we went live. I actually got it.
It's failing.
And then we shot all the way up, and then I took some profit. I closed half my Bitcoin position over here and moved my stop loss to break even. That's what this yellow line is. It's my entry point and my stop loss. If the market reverses and it hits my stop, it's gonna take me out. But this is what I really like with intraday momentum. This is, if I go back, I mean, you can just see it on the 1 hour time frame. Let's move back a little bit, but the very exact moment I entered, we shoot up. That's what I wanted. That's what I want to see with every single trade. I wanted to shoot into
order
profit
filled
immediately so I can get my stop to break even. You know, with the Aussie dollar, we got into profit, but it moved so dang slow that it didn't move into as much profit as I would hope, as much positive pips as I'd hoped to comfortably move my stop to break even. You know, on the lower volatile.
So there's 7 to
Got to be at least 25 to 30 pips in the positive.
730 wins.
Stop to break even. If it doesn't really reach that point, it's probably best exiting. So, with that being said, we're currently approaching a major area again. You know, if I'm looking at, let's go to the 4-hour again. Right. So we made this humongous consolidation on the 4-hour. We kind of poked our head out, you know, a little bit out of there. We're currently consolidating again on the 4-hour. So I'm just waiting for a break of these highs. You know, at 97.627, past there, we can certainly. The goal is to attempt to retest the all-time highs and potentially make even more all-time highs. You know, push further than that. And I certainly think that's it's definitely a possibility. But you know, when you're gonna enter, you know, if you have a price alert that hits, you have a breakout point that happens.
Just like when things are packed tight inside.
I'd like to see the entire crypto market going up. I don't like to see just Bitcoin going up for that day. It's got to be every single the top 5 cryptos moving up. You know, I think looking at the top 3 is fine too.
A bit of breadth, market breadth.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, you got to have some sort of backing on your side.
I know Paul talks. Yeah, I know Paul talks quite a bit about kind of Bitcoin dominance and.
Come on, break above. Break above. Do it.
When Bitcoin goes up,
do it.
The other ones don't really do it aggressively.
Oh my gosh, keep going. Keep going.
Yeah.
Keep it going. No.
£1,000-pound gorilla in the room, so everything kind of just follows that. You know, when Bitcoin moves up, all the altcoins and the meme coins kind of
up.
Well, actually, I'm not sure about
uppity up. Don't even come back to test. You don't need to test. You don't need to test. You could just get up there. You could just keep going.
I stay away from those, man. That's too dangerous. Yeah.
Proper market.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, just keep going. Just keep going, baby.
Yeah.
Freaking up. Up. No. Up. Oh yeah, look at the wicks. Look at the wicks. We jumped way too early. Here. Then we way too late here. Okay. Okay. Dude, come on. Come on. Freaking go. Go. Go.
My hope is for Ethereum to kind of follow Bitcoin, where
go.
Currently pointing sideways. The daily trend indicators are starting to point up.
There it is.
So, again,
push, baby.
For a price breakout point on Ethereum of 11882, and then past there, you know, if we do get a breakout, I like to see the entire crypto market going up, and then I think that's a valid entry point. You know, especially since we're not really necessarily trending on the weekly time frames anymore. Best case scenario, I think we consolidate a little bit more on Ethereum. So
let's freaking go.
Indicators to pinch off and kind of start crossing to the upside and look like what we.
Let's go.
What
come on.
Here in, believe,
come on.
It takes time to do it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it just takes some time to do it, but you know, I certainly think because these trend indicators are pushing sideways now, and the data.
Oh yeah.
Are
let's freaking go.
We certainly do have a chance for these guys to start making pushing higher. So instead of pushing lower, I think they can absolutely start pushing higher. But I could be absolutely wrong. You know, that's the thing with that's why I use momentum on the smaller time frames to enter into the larger time frame trends. Is just for that reason. It's because when I get into a trade, it's got to go positive immediately, and I got to get my stop to break even immediately. And you know, specifically with this Bitcoin trade, when we got in, let's move back. And when we got in, I was able to get my stop loss to positive fairly quickly, and it just kept moving up.
I want that to break right there. Just break right there. Just break right there, baby.
That was my clue to, hey, you know, I think it's time to take some profit. And
damn, we just stayed at max loss right there.
Some trades don't work out. Some trades do work out. You know, I was hoping that today would be one of those days that worked out, but so I could show everybody what my thinking is. You know,
One bad day of this week destroyed that one.
But honestly, actually, there really is nothing to do after you move into a profit.
That's it.
Once you move your stop to break,
We got out.
It's time to go make breakfast. So
Probably too soon.
Wait on it, you know.
Yeah, just forget about it.
Yeah, exactly. You just let the trend do the work.
We're ending this day positive
Yeah,
on that account.
Kind of how I view the entire
For the week,
forex or gold or crypto markets is I like to see consistency across the board.
we did not make it on this side. Maybe on the one account.
Just the euro against, it's not just the euro USD, it's the euro against the US dollar. I got to see some consistency in either one of those currencies. You know, you split them apart. What is the euro doing? What is the US dollar doing? If the dollar is showing weakness,
Oh, that's so rough.
The dollar is going to be the driving movement. You'll see it on.
Part of me wants to go for broke, see if we can't make a whole bunch pass or fail. But in reality, that would make us, and then have our reset. But that would just make us do bad decisions, and like just take away all of this work that we've done to even get it to being 2K plus. It's rough that we did hit max loss, and we did start trading a little bit more. We did bring it back a little bit. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is. But we are up overall here.
Unfortunately, it just happens. It will happen, and it's happening.
Where we did not think that was going to happen.
At least not for me, because I trade with momentum. You know, momentum means it's got to continue. So once it stops continuing, I mean, at that point, get out.
Yeah.
Do you look at any indicators like stochastic or anything like that?
Nothing, man. I don't look.
Is it going to bounce here?
Exponential.
We're actually going to take a look and find out.
5 EMA and a 12 EMA. 5 is the green line, 12 is the red line, and that just tells me what the trend is. Other than that, everything else is done manually, like analysis mode. You know, what I do for multiple time frame analysis is I do the spreadsheet, so I can actually show you guys that right now. If anybody is,
I think I'll enter if it breaks here.
A million times, so he's probably gonna get bored of me talking about it, but just for anybody who's new here, and just because I have nothing else to talk about. Okay, yeah. So hopefully you guys can see this spreadsheet up. This was the spreadsheet I did earlier in the week. I believe last time I was on, and you see we had 0 trends in the market. So what I like to do is I like to line up every single currency pair. You know, for example, on MetaTrader.
Order submitted.
When I'm doing my analysis, I like to set up every single pair on the weekly time frame first, and then these trend indicators will tell me, is there a trend in place? You know, so the weekly time frame is currently, the trend indicators are pretty much pointing sideways. So I would classify this as a no trend, and then I do that for the daily and then the 4 hour, and then I populate that into here, and then it automatically sorts itself out, and it tells me what's going on with the larger market view. You know, what trends are in place, what currency is really controlling the long-term strength or weakness, and all the way from looking at the markets on the higher time frames, you know, strength and weakness. I do the same exact thing on the smaller time frames, strength and weakness. Who's pushing the movement, and it works really well. You know, when the choppy market happens, you'll see it. You'll see a bunch of no trends. You know, if you get more than half of the market, you know, I trade 28 pairs for forex specifically. If half of those pairs are going sideways, the market is pretty much chopped up, and it's better to wait for either a news announcement or just sit on your hands and just not trade for that day and just come back another day to potentially where you'll have some sort of consistency. Now, with today's moves, I'm very sure next week when I come in,
I don't want to give any of it back.
Analysis, this weekly time frame,
Defender presents Cybercrime from the Frontline.
It's probably going to look like that on the daily and the 4 hour.
Your attack surface, from AI-powered deception to cyber-enabled espionage and embassy breaches.
You know,
but it really does look like it's about to fail to the short side.
The market, you know, the dollar being weak, so then we go to the charts and then we look at support and resistance areas. I want to see does this specific currency
Could be wrong.
You know, and best case scenario is I'm pairing strong against weak. There's a lot of room to move. You know, hundreds of pips of potential, like the Aussie dollar
order canceled
chart that I showed earlier. And you know, when you have that, pair that with your strict entry management. You know, try to get into profit immediately, and then when you do all those things together, you find your trading system becomes very low. There's low drawdown on the system. You know, that's what everybody wants. You don't really want to just sit in the trade.
We're gonna go for more of a swing trade here.
for days and days.
Yeah.
Get into a positive position. Manage that.
Yeah, we don't like drawdown.
Yeah,
we like drawdown.
Yeah, I see.
Gonna wait. We're waiting. We're waiting this time.
You know, put a trade
it's gonna come. It'll come back.
Definitely looks like the movement for a down, which means we'll probably go up.
A lot of times, but I just found I really like doing it this way a lot better, and it really does work for me. It's nice. You get to minimize the time you're in front of the screen. And
order submitted.
You get to know pretty quickly if you're right or wrong. So yeah, it allows you to be more aggressive. With
order filled.
So that's the fun part when you get into a really aggressive entry. And I think on gold specifically, when I entered a week or two ago, we
you had a good short on the gold, didn't you?
I don't know why I jumped in. That's my fault.
As well. So we had a humongous move. I bought gold 2 times and then sold it 2 days ago when the recent pullback happened, or reversal happened. But yeah, you know, gold.
Order canceled.
I think it's about 1,200 pips on just one single trade. Absolutely massive.
We gotta live with it. Live with it.
So that, you know, it was nice to see all that. But the market can, you know, just like how today, it didn't really move like how I wanted it to move. So it's better to just, again, you know, that saying comes around. It's better to be out of the market wishing you were in versus in the market wishing you were out. So I kind of feel like I'm just blabbering on here, but
in the words of the Rolling No. I'm gonna say, in the words of the Rolling Stones, you can't always get what you want.
Yeah. You know, you learn that really quickly. In trading, man. It's
Can I just take a look at this? Yeah, go for it. Yeah, I was gonna take a look at gold while we're talking about gold.
Oh no, go ahead. I was
go for
yeah.
it.
Go ahead.
Okay, so gold. Oops.
We got a viewer, Robert, says good morning. I'm just listening. Good morning, Robert. Hopefully you're having a good day.
Hi, Robert. How you doing? Non-farm payroll. Did you trade, Robert? Yeah, so gold, obviously, major trend for me is still up. So we've had this kind of, you know, that kind of bearish reversal day at the top, 3,500-ish, and then after that, a little bit sideways chop, and then we've seen this push through to new lows for the pullback. So for me, I was looking for it to base in this, and we're kind of still in that zone now, I guess. Yesterday we really probed it, and then today we're trying to move higher in a similar way to what the euro is doing, but obviously there's no real momentum yet to the upside on gold, so it's not doing what euro dollar has done so far. But yeah, it's certainly trying to base in this zone. You've got an old swing high that comes in at 31.67.5, and you've got this little minor congestion here, 31.93 to 32.45. It's funny, these congestions, they're very small, but in real terms, you know, the sizes of these ranges have got very big due to the volatility. It's like now you're looking at 5-minute charts thinking they look like daily charts, you know, from the old days. But yeah, for me, the major trend is still up. We've seen a pullback into support. This seems to be quite a strong kind of area, but I don't want to buy the thing until I get a bit more confirmation. I'm really just focusing on euro dollar at the moment. But it's kind of into the buy zone for me. So I'd be looking for signals that, perhaps on the shorter term charts, that give you kind of a kind of bullish confluence going forward. We're still, by rights, we're still kind of under broken support here. The low was at 32.60 or so. So we're still below it. We've not really got back above it convincingly yet. So maybe we need to break yesterday's high, close back above broken support kind of thing, to say we've seen the end of this kind of correction. If it does turn out to be,
makes me want to risk some,
which it could do. We don't know. Anything's possible, obviously.
No, we don't want to give any back.
Yeah, just keep.
We're not giving any back over here.
Watch really at the moment, in terms of perhaps resuming the major uptrend. So that's gold. Crude oil has been quite interesting of late.
That looks real good on the 15 seconds and the 5 minute. 15 is looking good.
That one has kind of played out quite well. So just to give you the
I don't know
on that one. It broke down from a descending triangle on the weekly. So big level, 64, 65 or thereabouts. So it's basically been in that range after the
I think if it touches back over here,
to early 2022, so it topped out, came back, and it just settled into a range. But we had the kind of lower high, lower high, lower high.
All right, I think
high, then
if we
down it goes.
come under
So nice
and break above, if we come up above this,
breakdown.
I'm getting in.
After the breakdown, we got that bullish reversal.
But I need it to touch first.
Then
all right,
weeks of trying to go
touch
higher,
or go underneath and then break up. That's what I'm looking for.
And this one, I think, is a bit like that dollar Swiss one we were looking at before on the weekly, where it broke through. There was a big range. It broke through with a lot of force and violence, and we've seen a retest, but the retest has failed to get back above it. And you can see there's a bit more aggressive selling. This is a weekly candle. So after a couple of weeks trying to go higher, it started to come down again. It's interesting because that breakdown was kind of when the stock market broke down. There was a kind of big sell-off on a lot of the asset classes. And it had the recovery along with the stock market, but it's decoupled. It's starting to head down again. There's something else going on with the crude oil market. And I think it's just the fact that we've got this massive overhead supply.
I also like to do other kinds of games, puzzles. I've done a lot of crosswords.
This broken support line.
My day-to-day definitely varies a lot.
And I think that's why the market stopped rising.
And just makes gaming so much
well, didn't work out.
Because
we did bring this under a little bit.
There are people that want to get out of a losing long position. So yeah, it looks like it's starting to. I think we'll crack this low. I think we'll see an extension of this this new downtrend to new lows, maybe into the kind of 50 area, and we'll see what happens from there. But it looks like it wants to go lower for me. Let's just zoom into the daily on this one. Down. There's the bullish news on the tariffs when it got reversed on all the markets, Bitcoin, stock market, etc. And then this kind of recovery along with the stock markets and the cryptos, and then it just topped out at that broken support level. It's just too strong. So a bearish outside session, a very weak retest.
That's what I'm wanting. I'm wanting this upside.
And we're just kind of chopping ahead of the lows. So
I
think this thing ultimately should be breaking through to new lows for the downtrend. So we'll see. But it's interesting how some markets, they're all doing the same thing 1 week or 2 weeks, and then they start to decouple and they do their own thing. Something bigger takes precedence, you know. And I think that's what's happening with the crude oil market. That
I think this one's a little bit more risky.
About the world economy, you know, could be something like that. Possibly.
No, I have zero confirmation.
That's for people that look too much into the stories.
If it touches here, I will move.
It's good to know, to have a story to fit the trade. A lot of people do that. But yeah, technically it looks to be quite vulnerable.
And that is the riskiness of that trade, and we gave that trade back, essentially.
Crude. The stock markets.
Looks like it's failing.
S&P, which
order filled.
I will take that trade.
On the stock market. Basically, it based out. I think the NASDAQ did a similar kind of thing. It based out pretty close to broken resistance. So this kind of bear market, or ultimately a bull market correction by the looks of things, it based out at the old high, and having done that, so big bullish week there. Small bearish week against it. Last week we saw a bullish outside week, or a bullish engulfing, if you're doing candlestick terminology. So a bullish engulfing, and this week we're seeing the follow through to the upside. So this is all kind of constructive, bullish price action, I would say, for the stock market.
Oh, that doesn't look good.
Quite positive. Are you looking at the stock markets at all?
No, personally I don't.
Yeah. So yes, it's been quite very interesting of late. What with the
Max loss.
The Trump news, the tariffs, and everything. The bad news followed by some of the good news. You know, that's really what's happened. But yeah, it looks to be quite constructive. It's rallying off of a big support level in a very long-term bull market. So it could be heading up towards the highs. So we'll see how that shapes up. So that's the S&P. The NASDAQ, I know.
Starting a business is hard. Spectrum was like that support system.
Very similar picture
vital
with the
piece of
NASDAQ.
equipment that we have here uses Spectrum.
Fast, reliable internet, starting at $40 a month.
Go back to the.
Okay, we're gonna take our original trade idea, and if it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
Based out, same thing as the S&P, I suppose.
We are going
Similar kind of
past
thing,
our max.
where bull market, that's the 2022 bear market or bull market correction, as they always tend to be in the end. You know, when people talk about stock market,
We are
bear
struggling
markets,
right here.
at the end of the day, if every bear market gets reversed,
We want to
for me,
make
can't
sure
be a
it
bear market,
takes
it's just a correction.
makes a
So,
choice.
Every decline in the stock market has been reversed, and who's to say that this one's going to be any different? You know, at the end of the day. So correction, swing.
Starting to look like it's going to fail.
And then here we are. We're basing out at the old high. Again, as with the S&P, we had that kind of bullish, kind of not quite engulfing, but I guess you could call it a piercing pattern if you're looking at candlestick terminology, followed by a kind of a weak inside weak harami type thing, and then a bullish engulfing outside week, and then we're following through now, same as the S&P. So I think the picture for the stock markets is quite rosy.
Order filled.
I'd say going forward looks to be quite good, at least on the multi-week perspective. So that's the stock market. Things that you want us to take a look at while we're on?
Yeah, we got some comments real quick from Robert. Says hit a max loss on one account, minor profit on another. I'm done for the day. Yeah, done for the day. I understand. Nas jumped in too early. Yeah. So Howard, do you have any advice for Robert here? Where he says, you know, adding to a trade, scaling more lots into a trade. I don't know. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, the adding. So yeah, I mean, a prime example has been what I've done with euro dollar today, I guess. Let me just go back to. Oh yeah, you've got it here. So I'm adding to my euro dollar long position, which is a multi-day position. I took the initial long yesterday at 112, just below 112.80, anticipating the turn, and now I've seen something which which has given me a new buy signal. If I weren't already long, I'd want to be entering long today, which is what I've done. So essentially what I've done is I've got 2 long positions and in the same market, so I've added to my long position. And the stop loss is actually, it was initially long, way below the low, and now it's up at 113, well, just 113.01. I'm going to be adjusting that as we go along, because obviously you don't want the thing to turn around and give back, turn a profitable trade into a losing trade. But the whole thing about adding is you need a new signal, I would say. I wouldn't add just for the sake of it, just because the market's going your way, because you're making life a bit difficult for yourself when you get a correction. But if you've got a new impetus, something that says, if I'm not flat, I should be long, then I think that's a valid reason to add to an existing
That makes sense.
because you've got a new signal and a new stop loss. So that's the way I treat that. And I think when you get these kind of things, so the situation I'm in with this euro dollar is I've got 2 very strong signals on the same time frame. So invariably, if this thing does what it should be doing, blasting higher into next week, then I've literally made the month of May. It's been this is my kind of trade for the month, if you will. So that's how I view it. So essentially, the strategy on this one was to get in on the weakness, which I did, and now I'm adding on the strength. So a lot of people do that. A lot of people think, or sometimes you get in on the strength, then you add on weakness. It depends on how you go. But when you're probing for a turning point, sometimes it's good just to take a small position as the market is kind of moving. Making extremes for the correction, and then add once you think the low's in place, if you're looking to buy, then once you've got the reversal signal on the typical technical signal, then that also can be a good time to add to a long position, I think.
Yeah, I guess for me personally, adding to a position, I rarely ever do that unless there's some sort of consolidation that happens on the 4-hour or something like that. Intraday movement wise, I'm not really scaling into a position. I'll probably go with a scaled back position, if anything. And if I go with a full scale entry, I don't really need to enter more. But if I'm in a scaled back position and it moves up, I'd like to see the market consolidate on the 4-hour or the 1-hour, ideally. Or even the daily, and then a continuation of that trend, and then I like to add even more lots. So,
this would be a perfect time to enter if you were going to enter a short.
The Aussie dollar trade that I got out of, it's actually currently moving back. It's retesting those highs that it made, the intraday highs that it's made, and for me personally, there's 2 options that I have. One is to scale back and have a wider stop. So I'm in it for the long term, and I have a wider stop, just less risk, But the reason I'm not doing that, or actually the second option is to
wanted to enter there over here, but it's not worth it. I think it'd be more worth it just to try and make some money back here. We're not even supposed to be in this trade yet.
Because it's the time of day. These pairs have already made their major moves. The time of day, we're pretty much at the end of the session. For me, the main trading session, it ends at 7:30 a.m. So it's 7:42 right now. So I'm at Pacific time. So end of the main trading session, that's where the volatility starts to kind of kick down, and the currency pairs start to go sideways. Now I could be totally wrong, and they could just absolutely go higher and higher. I've been wrong before, but typically that's kind of what I see happens in the market at this time. It's very tough to trade, get into a really sustainable position unless there's a catalyst involved, whether that be news or some unexpected news or whatever. But also the Aussie dollar is kind of a lower volatile pair as well. I think it's not really too important, because if you got it, the market can certainly make a low volatile pair into a volatile pair. A 1% move on the Aussie dollar is about like 64 pips or 65 pips. So I don't think I'm going to get a 50% move here to get my stop to break even, which is what I'd like to look at. I like to have at least a 30, 25 pips stop, pips positive before I move my stop to break even. And I'm not really too keen on going into the weekend with my stops not at break even. So personally, I'm staying out. And you know, this is actually very exciting because this whole week I was trying to look for direction, but the market is broken loose. Now I'm just waiting until next week where, you know, I don't know if we're going to get a consolidation or continuation, but I'm just looking for a breakout of the highs that we're going to make today, essentially, and then try to repeat my plan for today. You know, get into a trade, a position, and hopefully it goes up immediately 20, 30 pips and get my stop to break even, and hopefully I can ride the trend out. You know, I hate managing losing positions because I just get too scared. So yeah, anytime I get into a position, I try my best to get into
messes with the psychology a little bit.
Yeah, you know, I suck at making decisions when I'm under that kind of pressure, especially because I like to go in really aggressive with entries. I like to trade really large position size when I'm trading with intraday momentum, because it allows me to do that. You know, if a trade's going to continue moving up, it's going to continue moving up, and that allows me to be more aggressive because I'm focusing on the smaller time frames. But when you're focusing on the higher time frames, you really have to account for that, and you're just not allowed to have such a large position size. So position sizing is pretty crucial when you're dealing with the time of day, you know, how far pairs move. You know, these pairs can certainly move up higher, but they've just moved so much already, and it's already past news and ending. We're near the end of the main session.
Ooh, I want to add. I mean, I want to take this sale right now.
Pip move again is probably not as high as it would be if we were earlier in the session or closer to the news release. So
could be in the.
Best to meet today. I can say that for sure.
He looks.
Yeah, go ahead, Howard.
This is the perfect time to sell, I think.
So it's when the market has moved, you know, up to its average true range, there's not much further on average that it can go. So I think that kind of ties in a little bit with what you're saying.
Yeah.
Ooh, see?
But,
don't give it back.
Robert, pretty excited for next week. That's all I got to say. You know, things have broken loose, so excited, really exciting.
Cool. I think we're pretty close to time now, eh?
Yeah, actually, we're good to go. So, Robert, thanks for coming in. Thanks for saying hi, and you know, everybody else watching, you know, good luck to you all, and have a good weekend.
Great. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Yeah. All right, Howard.
You too, man.
All right. We're trying to stick in, but we're like at max loss here on this account. We shouldn't even be trading that. We don't even want to be giving anything back over here. I think my plans was to continue trading, you know, the whole freaking session today, but I think that is making me take trades that I shouldn't be taking anymore. We'll see how this one plays out. It does not look like it's going good. See, even I almost came in here for a sale. I did come. See, that's the problem. I came in here and said we're gonna have an up day, and I'm taking sell trades and then buy trades at the wrong time. You know, we're gonna leave this one in. We're gonna feel the sting of not doing what you're supposed to do, which is stop at max loss. We're being very smart on this one over here. We almost hit max loss. We did start coming back. We're doing fine. We got into profit. For the third day in a row, we struggled to even get to this point. 2 prophecies. So, prophecies. You know what I mean. In the profit range. And I definitely feel like we are going to start pushing for the upside today, which is where, see how much I switched that? It was the perfect time to sell right here. I'm not going to do it though. Good thing I didn't. But we're sticking in. We're sticking in with this trade. We're seeing if we can pull a long-term trade here. I actually think they're going to come in pretty hot for the weekend on the upside. And next week might be the week of the drop. I'm hoping we come down to yesterday's high. But we shall see. We shall see. We'll try and stick around for the length of this trade. See what happens. But we're certainly not willing to overtrade anymore. This is the, will we recoup some of this money on the longer swing trade? We're kind of curious to see about that, sticking in and letting it do its thing. Part of me wants to go get coffee. Coffee sounds amazing right now. So if we have another couple weeks like this though, as far as on our good account that we're being smart about, be pretty solid. If we actually can get back down to max loss, we should be pretty fine for next week as well, on this particular account. So I was kind of trying to decide, and I think we are. All right. Failed to break our line support resistance. We're just hovering around the same area. Will it make the decision for the upside or the downside? Downside it is, buddy. Downside it is. Almost positive. I was so positive. I wanted to enter over there, but I'm not going to. I don't care. Yeah, I gotta talk to myself. Oh, we have these opposite. Uh-oh. You see? Look at how much we would have gave that back, straight back already. See, that would have been the time to put into break even, or, you know, a little bit of profit right here, just because this almost looks like it's about to break up. Like it was the fake down to break upward. That's the vibe that I'm getting now. It's very likely the vibe that's about to happen. So let's see, is my new thoughts that I've wishy-washed, flipped out on, correct? Because remember, we were like, this is the perfect time to sell. Then it went up, then down, then up, then down. Just, oh, yeah, downside for sure, positively. Started coming down. Boom. I wanted to enter right here, actually. I almost did. What if they're faking these people out for the sell side, and then they are going to actually hit where I put this, because people are going to enter right around here thinking it's going to break up, and it's the false breakout is what I'm going to get hit by. A lot of sell side volume up here. A lot of volume at the top of these. See, I don't know what I'm doing, man. I don't. I am predicting false breakout that takes me out and then comes down. Prediction Nixon. Actually, I'm going to protect against that.
submitted. Order canceled.
Wait, did it cancel my other order? It did.
Order submitted. Order canceled. Order submitted.
Uh-oh. I hope I'm right. I don't know. I've been saying a lot of wrong stuff.
Hello, Paul.
Hello, mate. How's it going?
I'm very well, thanks. How are you?
Too busy.
Too busy. That's not a bad thing. Well, you know, it is Friday, so thank goodness. What a week. Today we had NFP. I'm not sure if did you watch that? Or...
I'm so backed up. I was waiting for you to inform me. How bad is it?
No, I mean, it's definitely, well, the pound US dollar went up. We'll have a look at the charts right now. Not really like the strongest reaction, in my opinion. But yeah, I did take...
A lot of factors, isn't it? Remind me, what's included in it?
In what?
What was the thing we had out today? What was in it?
Non-farm payrolls.
Yeah, so what does that make up? That's...
non-farm workers. NFP. And then there was another... Let's have a look at the date, yeah. We also had average hourly earnings, which is marked as high impact news event. Unemployment rate, unchanged. Non-farm employment changed.
Yeah.
It doesn't show the actual on my side.
Households. Non-profit organizations, yeah.
So anyway,
or did they capture a bunch of buys?
It's not the greatest idea to trade. Even though, you know, this morning I did take a trade.
What were you trading?
At the pound US dollar. Right. Traded the pound US dollar, and
that is a lot of buys.
I was hoping
actually.
I'll show you quickly. I'll show you.
Look at that. That's actually a lot of buys that happened over the last.
So, right over here, I've deleted the lines now. But basically, it was based off.
Order filled.
Oh, I've deleted the lines now. Where were they? Oh, okay. Yeah, because I created two scenarios in yesterday's session. I don't know if you remember.
Oh, that got me.
It was basically there were two.
It's gonna come up here and actually shoot up.
4-hour time frame. You can see it clearly here. So there were two scenarios. It either has to bounce off the 50 or the 61.8, or it needs to close below the this neckline or this level here. So we didn't get the actual close. It actually closed above it. So what I did then was I drew Fibonacci levels on smaller time frames, which is from year to year, right?
Yeah.
and then looking for a rejection of that price level. And we got it right there. No, sorry, yeah. That was 61.8. See that?
Yeah.
So that's where I took the trade this morning, and I was hoping to target the previous lows before NFP, but that's what happened. It came back to retest it, and then it came back lower, and so I just got out around this area, and that was NFP. So, I mean, what can you do? What can you do? It's not the greatest setup in general. It's not a good idea to trade on NFP days, but there you go. So right now for the pound US dollar, and this is also a very good example why you need to wait for. Remember I spoke about this. This could potentially form a double top, but it has to break the neckline, and if it does, then this support level will be weak. But we're not anywhere near that. Well, we came pretty close, but now we're rejecting. So we could very well go into a range, or there are so many different scenarios which I don't like.
Okay.
It could bounce off that 50 or the 61.8.
If it continues lower here, this is where we should have entered in at.
Just do that.
If we were going to enter, we definitely FOMO'd.
Oh, there's no rush, mate.
Order filled.
Okay, well, let me do it slower.
No, I mean, honestly, I'm not 100% on top of things today, so you're probably going to witness me charting stuff in front of everybody. So it's a good learning experience, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so, oh, come on, man.
We're very tired today. I probably should not be trading.
Okay, so now the 50 and the 61.8 is again in play, and like again, it needs to very clearly reject off those levels. But what I don't like is now, you see, this is like you could argue this is now a range, right? Because you really want to break, you want to break out below, and we haven't. So this is one of those. We've shown this before. Like once you get to this level. You can't call it a double top. It needs to break and close below the neckline before you can say, yeah, okay, you've got a double top, and then you can definitely target much lower price points. But right now, VR because of NFP. So let's just see how the day closes. If it can close back below here and the next 4-hour candle kind of ranges in here, then maybe next week we can on Monday, Tuesday, or whatever.
Oh, I think I'm feeling the push up today.
The 61.8 and it rejects off there. Yeah, I don't know.
Still, with my initial sentiment for the day is up, and I botched it today.
In that support zone. So
stop order cancelled.
Just go way back to the top. So I think for now I'm just going to stand back. I'm just going to stand back and see how
we're at max loss.
Before I
we could trade the other account, but we kind of need to just make a decision that we shouldn't.
Beautiful trade right to the bottom of this daily candle. That was very nice. But now at this range today with NFP.
Let's take a look real quick. Let's just see,
now,
since we can't.
15 to 61.8 levels. If you look at the dollar index, we pretty much forming a doji there. So I'm still bullish, right?
So we're gonna do a buy limit here.
So yeah, and the point of invalidation, as I've mentioned before, is like if it breaks this low of this bullish hammer.
Order submitted.
Okay, maybe that didn't all support, and then I'll change my mind. Okay, because it did move very low below that support level, and that's a very strong reversal. This is a weekly time frame, so it's a pretty strong reversal right to that level. So I'm still bullish on that front. So technically speaking, I'm still bearish on the pound US dollar. But where we are right now is not if you want to get chopped up, take some short trades or long trades on shorter time frames. It just won't work out very well. So yeah, for now, 50 or the 61.8 level, and then I'll just see how aggressively price rejects off those levels. So that is, what's your take on that, Paul?
I agree.
Yeah, good answer. Good.
I mean, you're talking about like double tops and stuff. I mean,
Order filled.
I frequently
Can't help it.
fall into this trap where we're saying kind of like there's a double top, but it's not confirmed, right?
Stop
so
filled.
It's important to just. I'm just trying to touch base with what's been going on.
Couldn't help it, guys. Way to go. Way to blow it.
Participation ticked up slightly.
Good thing it was only one contract.
With this data, right? It's pretty okay. It's not looking bad for stuff, but it's just like we've got a latency in terms of what data points are arriving, and
yeah. Look, I mean, I honestly don't care about what the initial reaction. It's really about what happens after. Ideally for me, this never goes to the 50 or the 61.8. It just kind of sticks here.
Yeah.
Right. It just kind of stays there and then moves lower, because that's really what we want, to get that double top confirmation, and then we can expect much lower lows. But at the same time, not all the way yet, but you're forming a really nice.
Okay, well, there's always more trades. Super. Okay, so stop FOMOing on this account here.
Then the double top.
And let's just see, will our sentiment of the day
and if this goes
be correct?
To the top, then I mean, then
okay.
Go, I don't.
Pretty simple.
I don't know land. Then it's like, all right.
Don't actually have to trade it on one of the accounts. We could trade it on sim account, because like we did that one day. Look at this, we made 40 something K.
Just my dog. She's ready to eat those day, and she's just getting frustrated.
Woo, let's see, I want to put a sell in.
Yeah, all right. So, and on the NASDAQ, like yesterday,
what would happen right here
in the session? We would
what I got a sell in
200 EMA, and we mentioned about, you know, let's see how the day closes. And it closed below, but today with NFP,
it would have went up
back above the 200 EMA. So is this going to be like one of those?
Maybe
above,
not.
Below the 200 EMA.
All right.
Okay.
I'm so tired. Probably not the time to trade.
This was
but
the actual news.
We're ending on a positive note here, on this side at least.
No kind of.
If we cut now.
No. You know, no choppiness,
over max, just a little bit.
Direction, and then that was yesterday's high.
But anyways, I think that's it.
And now it's pushing.
We'll just see how this trade goes.
See on the daily time frame. So this resistance level here is still.
Kind of want to go get coffee or just take a nap.
Once it gets to that level, we'll see how the daily closes off that. If we get a rejection off that level, then perhaps we can get a pullback all the way. But we've got the 200 EMA in the way as well. All these thorns, all these hurdles. But yeah, so we'll see what happens over there. But I think the next level is going to be this 2340 level. If today can close above this 200.
Dang. All right, we're gonna cut it because we're just gonna overtrade if not.
On the week.
All right.
Yeah, very strong.
Peace.